Welcome to the Cinephiles Liberty Care 11 Plus show, where three movie lovers get together and we talk all things film. Each episode we dive into the movies that are coming out. We tell you what we think about them, and at the end we'll give you a little Cinegift too. It's sort of our rendition of a book club. The first movie we're going to talk about is Big, Bold, Beautiful Journey. Let's take a look.
Remain on interstate for 249 miles. David?
So are we talking to each other now?
Do you want to go on a big, bold, beautiful journey?
Yes.
Do you remember?
David?
Happy together, don't you?
Pick up Sarah.
I do.
My car won't start.
Mine told me to pick you up.
Okay, I like it. What's happening here?
So this is a story, I think it's kind of like a musical without the music. It's a very whimsical, fabulous story about two people who go on a journey together through kind of their pasts. Colin Farrell and Margot Robbie are very attractive people, but they don't have much chemistry in this movie, I would say. Basically, they're stopping at these doors and going into these doors to formative moments in their life, and they're sort of learning about each other through these re-experiencing moments in their life. Okay, so we're supposed to be seeing them fall in love, except I think it's sort of like a passive dramatic voice in a way. There's very little happening in the present, and it's all sort of about re-experiencing their childhood or a death in the family or something like that. Meanwhile, they're supposed to be falling in love. I found this to be deeply flat and just I didn't feel really much of anything toward these characters. There's no real personality to Colin Farrell or Margot Robbie. They're just sort of there. Fantastical things are happening, they're going through these magical doors, they're dealing with a magical GPS. It's all sort of like a Charlie Kaufman-esque story, almost in the way that like Being John Malkovich had a floor between floors. This has got a company that rents out these 1994 Saturns with magical GPSs that are supposed to bring people together. And all of these ideas in different hands may have worked, but the director, Kogonada, who has made two really good films that I like. One is called After Yang, which also had Colin Farrell, and the other is Columbus, which came out in 2015, I think, and both were great. He was directing his own scripts there. He's not directing his own script here, and I think the screenwriter just had a whole lot of influence from like Singing in the Rain and Jacques Demy's Umbrellas of Cherbourg, and just couldn't quite find that magic, and it just never clicked for me.
So it sounds like a big, bold, beautiful miss.
It was, major misfire, yeah.
I would agree. I don't
What'd
know
you
why
think?
you're looking at me like that, but
Well,
I would agree.
Please explain.
Well, like you said, it's whimsical, it's magical, it's fantastical, it's supposed to be a romance, it's supposed to be this wonderful movie that you can sit down for 90 minutes and just escape reality. But the escape from reality isn't the type that you want it to be. You're just sitting there like, okay, this isn't working.
Interesting.
Margot Robbie does what she can with the character, but there's no writing here. Like, there is, obviously, because there was a script, but like, it's not deep, if that makes sense. It's just very flat. It wants to talk about trauma, it wants to talk about loneliness, it wants to talk about our dependence, I guess, on our phones and not connecting with other humans, but it doesn't do that.
It doesn't achieve it.
It just thinks about it. It like whispers those ideas at the screen.
Yeah, it's all kind of commenting on these things without actually like dramatizing them. So I feel like you're never in the moment because you're constantly reliving things that are going on in the past. And it just didn't click at all. Like nothing about it. Like, it's well shot. It looks nice. There's lots of colors.
Yeah,
there's lots of amazing, visuals. But it's so like just devoid of energy.
So you're saying the purpose is for an AI car, which is our phone and AI, right? Telling us to drop it and go live your life and get rid of your past drama so that you can discover love to live, but it doesn't hit any of those marks.
I mean, that is all communicated, but you just don't care at all. I mean, you know, I just sat there sort of bored and, you know, not relating to these characters because there's no personality. I don't know what Colin Farrell does for a living. I don't know, you know, they show moments from his past, which should, you know, sort of build a personality, but they don't. He's just, it's got to be one of his least engaging performances.
What a shame.
You just don't learn anything about the characters. You don't know why they're going through each specific door. Like,
Right.
obviously, once they go through it, there's a story there, but you don't feel anything. You don't even know what city they live in. And apparently, they live in the same city.
Yeah.
Well, perhaps the lesson learned here is that both huge actors who've had a lot of home runs lately
Yeah.
can get together and make a poor movie.
Yeah.
And it ain't their fault.
The writer is the writer of, like, The Menu, which had a lot of
Whoa.
social commentary that was really, really good.
Very
so
good.
Sure.
this one just missed the mark
All right.
somehow.
Rate it.
I'd say skip it.
It hurts my soul to say that, but I agree. Skip it.
Moving on. Let's do Eleanor the Great.
So tell me about your mother.
I'll probably cry if I do.
So cry. What's the big deal? Hold that thought. Excuse me. The other guy brought the water, but no straws.
Oh, we actually don't have straws. It's like an environmental thing.
This diner has a political agenda? You know what? Don't tell me. Just go back and see if you can find two.
I don't need one.
Two? Thank you. Now, what was I saying?
You want me to cry?
Right.
Okay. This diner has a political agenda.
She's just so cute.
She sure is. Okay, so what's going on in this one, James?
So, June Squibb is a 94-year-old grandma who just lost her best friend. So she moves from Florida to Brooklyn, where she used to live, to be with her family.
She found a straw.
I'm so happy for her that she has a straw. And she just lost her best friend, so she is dealing with the emotions of that while also trying to navigate being back in Brooklyn, reconnecting with her daughter, being in the same house as her grandson, those sort of things. I thought it was really well done, especially for it being Scarlett Johansson's directorial debut. For someone who hasn't dealt with their own grief, I've been watching a lot of movies about grief this year. I don't know, put whatever you want together about that, but this one is about grief, loneliness, friendship, family, just life in general, and she gets caught in a lie and it hurts people. So it's also a story about forgiveness. It's June Squibb, it's Chiwetel Ejiofor, who was also in The Life of Chuck, which is also, in my opinion, about grief.
Yeah, he's not making bad movies.
No, he's not. And it's just really well done. There's a story about the Holocaust. They cast actual Holocaust survivors in the roles of the Holocaust survivors in this film, which both June Squibb converted to Judaism. Scarlett Johansson has family that died in the Holocaust. So this, I feel, is a more personal story for both of them, rather than just like, we're doing a movie, yeehaw.
Yeah, I thought it was okay. I think it's dealing with all those themes in a very light way. This is made in a very Sundance sort of indie style. It's not a Sundance movie, but in that sort of style where it's just very accessible. It's kind of universal. It's not taking too many risks. And it doesn't hit hard necessarily. Not that I need every movie to hit hard, but when you're dealing with the Holocaust and grief and kind of these big emotions, I was expecting to come away maybe devastated, or maybe this would be riotously funny in some ways, because June Squibb is very funny in the beginning. And I chuckled a few times. I felt sad. I don't know that I cried or anything. It's just kind of like a mild, 6.5 on the emotion scale, and yeah, it was fine, and then I moved on with my life.
You guys will be so shocked to learn that I did cry.
Come here. I think I speak for all the viewers when I say we should maybe have a segment so that we can get through some of your grief.
No, we're not doing that.
Okay, moving on.
But the humor in this one did feel really familiar to me, because I was adopted by my grandparents, so they are older,
Yeah.
Sure.
so they
I see.
don't
You found the
navigate the
connection
world
there.
the same way that we do.
Right.
So yeah, there was definitely a familiarity there that probably hit me more than somebody else.
Yeah.
Sure.
That's good though. What'd you give it then?
I'd say try it.
What do you think?
I would say see it.
Okay, very good. Hey, when we come back from the break, we're going to talk about the movie everyone's talking right now. It's Leo's latest, one battle after another. welcome back. All right, this is the movie everyone's talking about, right? One battle after another. I saw the previews and I'm like, I don't know what's going on here, but I'm interested. Let's take a look and then we'll talk about it.
Rise and shine.
Bat an eyelash.
Good morning.
There are no hands on the clock
Why?
because they're not needed.
What time is it?
You know, I don't remember that part. All right, let's just not nitpick over the password stuff. Look, this is Bob Ferguson. All right, you just called my house. Let's cut the. I need the rendezvous point.
What?
Okay, this is a good scene. What is happening in this movie?
So much.
So much. Yeah, so the story is basically about two kind of groups. One is a revolutionary sect called the French 75. They are all about liberating.
My favorite drink.
I'm so glad.
Is it?
That's
Okay.
one of them.
They're all about liberating immigration detention centers, blowing up political offices that they don't agree with, and robbing banks to fund their revolutionary activities.
And my smile just went down. Is that has quite a chord with today's society?
Exactly, exactly. And the other side is kind of the head of, for lack of a better term, ICE, led by Colonel Lockjaw, who's played by Sean Penn, who is a character almost straight out of Dr. Strangelove. He is an over-the-top, absurdist, tension-filled military guy who is very conflicted. Without spoiling too much, he's basically after Leonardo DiCaprio's daughter, who he believes might be his daughter, because he's trying to get into a white supremacist cabal called the Christmas Adventurers Club, which is secretly kind of running America. So obviously, this is obviously a lot going on right now.
Yep.
It's based on a novel by Thomas Pynchon, written and directed by Paul Thomas Anderson, who I would argue is one of the great living filmmakers. And for me, this is the movie of 2025. Beyond its just amazing filmmaking, it's 2 hour and 40 minute runtime that races by at it feels like it's like a 90-minute movie.
Yeah.
The incredible performances from Leo, Sean Penn, Chase Infinity, who plays the young girl, and
Benicio del Toro.
And Benicio del Toro. Tiana Taylor is just a force of nature in this movie. Beyond all that, I think I'm really impressed that this movie is even in theaters right now. Warner Brothers is great about supporting auteur filmmakers, particularly this year, that are making very big blockbuster-sized movies that are politically charged. I mean, they made Mickey 17, which was a $100+ million movie that kind of flopped, but it was, a politically charged movie. Sinners, that was a gamble that paid off. Again, a politically charged movie. This one, just by my description, you can tell it's politically charged. It's very much about the culture war and kind of how there's a series of revolutions going on, not only by these revolutionaries, but in the sense that history keeps repeating itself. We swing to the right, we swing to the left, and that battle keeps going on. In a world where, Sinclair and Nexstar are not allowing Jimmy Kimmel on the air, or Apple TV Plus is not putting The Savant, this story about white supremacist terror groups, on their platform, Warner Brothers is making a really, for lack of a better word, ballsy move by putting this out into theaters. And I think it just captures so much of what's going on in America today.
Is it kind of like the Joaquin Phoenix recent movie too? Where he's the sheriff?
Eddington.
Eddington, in a way, yes. This one is, you're allowed to kind of take a step back and realize that it's a little bit more like satire, not necessarily based in the real world. Whereas Eddington was very much about what was actually happening in 2020.
Yeah.
What do you think, James? You saw it.
I pretty much agree with everything that Brian said. It's very timely, even though PTA has been working on this for 2 decades.
Really?
Yeah. It feels very 2025, even though it was 2005 when he started working on it. Leo and Sean Penn give incredible performances, but even though they kind of feel like both might be the lead, Leo might be the lead, it might be a two-hander, I feel like Regina Hall, Tiana Taylor, and what was her name?
Chase Infinity.
Those 3 steal the show. And the women in this movie are just incredible. They're a force of nature. And I can't rave about them enough about this movie. You're right, it does feel like a very bold statement from Warner Brothers. And I do feel like maybe a best actor run for Leo.
I could see that. I mean, he's doing
Another one.
This is my favorite type of Leo performance, where he is
Off the rail.
Yeah, he's not trying to look cool. He's not trying to be serious. He is basically Jeff Lebowski as a revolutionary, and he's kind of hapless. And it's the story that is, PTA famously left film school because a teacher told him that Terminator 2 wasn't a great movie. And this is kind of Terminator 2. This is a parent.
Terminator 2 is a great movie.
It is a great movie. It's a parent who's raising their son or child as a revolutionary, and then kind of this awful evil force coming after that kid, trying to get that kid, and the parent is trying to stop it. The difference is that Leo is sort of hapless and can't really do anything to protect his daughter, even though he really wants to, and the daughter ends up kind of taking matters into her own hands and defending herself.
I have to go ahead.
Yeah. So I just think that it's an action movie for first and foremost.
Absolutely.
You're watching this movie and it's, like I said, it's racing by because it's so propulsive.
There have been like 90-minute movies that I've sat down. I'm like, this feels like an eternity.
Yeah.
And this is almost 3 hours, and I felt like it was 30 minutes, even though
You're having a good time.
Yeah.
2 questions.
Yep.
When did Paul Thomas Anderson, and can he be reduced just to PTA? Is he?
I use PTA, but
I mean,
Is
a
that
lot of
fair?
people do that. Yeah.
Like, is he there?
Yeah.
Is he
Yeah,
good?
I would say so.
You get him down to just the.
yeah.
Are you
I think
saying,
most
like,
people would
is
know
he-
who you're talking about.
Can
if
we
you
just
say
give him the
PTA.
initials? So
Yeah, yeah.
do we agree that the initials are there?
Yes.
Okay. And secondly, you said you've been working on for 2 decades.
Yeah.
Sorry.
But how apropos for this time?
Oh, totally.
And why did it take 2 decades? And now that it's being released now, seems serendipitous.
Yeah.
Totally. Yeah. I don't know why he took 2 decades. I think he's been kind of working out I don't know. You could put this in a trilogy of PTA movies about America. You've got There Will Be Blood as kind of just capitalism at its worst. The Master as kind of religion as exploitation in a way, and then this, which is just this war between the left and the right. And maybe he was just waiting for the right time. I think a lot of this stuff is in the original novel, but he just waited maybe for the right moment to kind of realize that.
I do think that, because you said Sinners was also Warner Brothers, this is now your favorite movie of the year.
Yeah.
There have been a lot of memes on the internet of Andy from Toy Story throwing away Sinners and picking up one battle after another. And I feel like a lot of people feel as though this is their favorite movie of the year and that it's blowing them away, and it's not really a mainstream movie. It's doing well at the box office.
It's a PTA.
But it's not really mainstream, but it also gives these heavy subjects accessibility and just ease for whoever's watching it.
For whatever the themes are, I mean, it's not preachy at all.
He's not on his soapbox at all.
You're totally immersed in the story, and the things that I extract out of it, you may not extract out of it, but it's just a propulsive good time.
Rating.
Don't miss it.
Don't miss it.
All right. I think 97% on Rotten Tomatoes, 98%.
Yeah.
It's pretty high.
Pretty rare deal with a big movie like that these days. All right. When we come back, we got to discuss Hot Shots Part 2, and your Cine Gift.
Yeah.
Right on. All right, welcome back. The last Cine Gift we did, and I threw this out there purely because I was tired of all the super heavy, great emotional films that you guys were tossing around as Cine Gifts, and I go, all right, we're going to go the exact opposite way and go to the dumbest movies I can remember as a child and see if they still hold up, because it made me laugh pretty hard as a kid. So Hot Shots and Hot Shots Part 2, which was Charlie Sheen after Major League and Platoon, doing sort of the Naked Gun airplane type vibe. And I remember being two of the funniest movies I've ever seen, but I was a kid and had no life experience. Rewatching them now, I guess I'll get your guys' take first, and then I'll...
No, you can
Can I go?
Yeah, you go.
All right, the movies are horrible. They're really bad. However, I would say 2 out of 10. 2 out of 10. They're batting 200 with the jokes. When the jokes do hit, they make me laugh out loud by myself, which was a good thing. But generally speaking, they're not even close to the comedy level of a Naked Gun or something like that. So the writing is not there. It's slapstick. It's not that great. But there are some jokes that were hilarious. And I also realized a lot more sort of adult references that are in there that passed me over when I was a kid, like the Godfather references and a bunch of others in there you have to watch to find them all, but they're hidden everywhere. But when the jokes do hit, they hit hard. And I'll give you one. In the first Hot Shots, the beginning of the movie is about Topper Harley's father being responsible for the death of another guy, right? This other guy ejected from a jet for no reason. And when he's coming down, his parachute hit these trees and he's stuck. And he cuts himself down and he lands on the ground and I don't know if he murders a deer or if he goes into a deer carcass, but he comes up with antlers on. And then some hunter shoots him and kills him, right? And so this one guy blames Topper Harley's dad for killing his father. And then there's a third guy who's in the barrack or whatever, and he goes, actually, sir, I'm sorry. It was my father who actually killed your father. And he's got a picture of his father's with antlers on hung on the wall. And then he goes,
seconds.
And then he goes, if it makes you feel better, I didn't have seconds.
Oh my God.
This goes, wait a sec, he ate him. That's one of the funniest jokes ever.
Cannibalism humor, you know?
That's so ridiculous.
Armie Hammer would get behind that.
It is behind the ridiculous. Like 3 layers of ridiculousness. If it makes you feel any better, I didn't have seconds. We talked about his dead dad. Sorry. The other thing was all the Minnesota and Wisconsin references. I'm from Wisconsin. We obviously live in Minnesota. But in the first Hot Shots, they're speaking in a teepee with an elder. And all they're doing is saying the names of Minnesota towns. These are Minnetonka and Minneapolis and Orono and Faribault, whatever. It's just funny. So a lot of these things went over my head, but
Yeah.
Good to look back. It's like that box of goodies you get from your parents when you move out of the house and you look at it once or twice for the rest of your life and you're like, I'm good.
Yep.
I saw it and that did its role, but now I'm done.
Yeah. I mean, I watched this movie growing up in the 90s as a teen. This was on TV all the time. I watched it all the time, and it was funny as a kid. Now it's like, I don't know. I want a little bit more of a story.
Yeah.
I think these kind of spoof comedies, they're just joke machines, and yeah, it made me laugh. But like, I have no desire to watch this again. One of the great jokes I think is the Charlie Sheen and Martin Sheen passing each other,
pretty good.
like Apocalypse, and both narrating, and
I love you in Wall Street.
Right. That is such a good joke, and laughed out loud on that. I think Lloyd Bridges is hilarious.
Yeah, he's great.
But in terms of story, I just don't.
Terrible.
Yeah.
What'd you think?
Well, I
Did you
didn't watch part 2.
Oh man.
Sorry.
Part 2.
I do.
It went from Top Gun to like Rambo remake.
Yeah, I do remember
Which I love Rambo
watching this, at least part of it, when I was young.
Yeah.
I feel like I turned it off. Sorry. Because I wanted to turn it off this time. I don't necessarily hate it. I just know that it's not for me.
Yeah, sure.
And the only spoof movie, I lied, there's 2. The only 2 spoof movies that I've actually like watched all the way through and semi-enjoyed is Not Another Teen Movie and Popstar Never Stop, Never Stopping.
Not Another Teen
And
Movie is good.
I'm sorry, but maybe that just shows that I'm a 32-year-old girl.
It's okay.
Like,
Is Not Another
but-
Teen Movie or is it Scary Movie the one where I Know What You Did Last Time where they're spoofing off of it?
that's very scary.
And they hit
movie.
somebody?
That does count. I do like
And he
the
goes,
scary movies.
we got a boot. And he goes, where's the foot? That's a really good one. I also learned that the guy that gets shot with the chicken by Charlie Sheen, right? Well, you didn't see part 2
Sorry.
again, but he gets shot with the chicken.
Somebody gets shot with a chicken in part 2.
You know who
Darn,
that
I'm
is?
so sad that I missed it.
That's the one-armed man in The Fugitive.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So I thought, okay, there he is. There's the one-armed
Learning
man.
stuff with
Pretty
Chris
good actor.
Rapsky.
Boy, I really bring this show down. I'll tell you what.
No, you don't.
We operate at a high level
No
until I
negative
get here.
self-talk.
And then, no, I'm not negative. I'm just being honest.
No, it's fun to revisit
Yeah.
these things that you remember from your childhood, and occasionally they work, and sometimes they don't. And-
I mean, I made Brian watch Smart House, which is a Disney Channel original movie.
yeah.
So
I'd recommend Smart House.
it's really good, actually.
It's good.
All right.
Ryan Merriman, my guy.
So what's the next Cinegift?
All right, so we're going into spooky season, but I wanted to keep it light too. I don't want to, put you into a dark horror movie. So it's kind of an indie comedy from 2008 called Baghead, written and directed by Jay Duplass and Mark Duplass.
Wonderful.
Stars Greta Gerwig.
No, I just like the Duplass.
Oh yeah. Stars Greta Gerwig, among others. It's, you can rent it on Amazon right now. Kind of a horror movie, kind of about filmmaking. Very interesting movie that I don't think a lot of people have seen.
Baghead. All right.
It's got Greta
I've been
Gerwig
called
in
that
it.
before.
I'm on board.
All right. Well, thank you very much. You want to tell them where they can see you, Brian?
Yeah, check me out on Deep Focus Review. I'm also at Deep Focus Review on Blue Sky and Letterboxd, and you can find my reviews on Rotten Tomatoes as well.
Independent Film Critic of the Year.
It's true. Thank you.
Yep. Keep saying it.
Independent Film Critic of the Year. Brian Eggers and Jamie.
True.
Jamie Rogers.
I don't know why we're shaking hands, but
it's always
here
a
we
pleasure.
are.
That's what it is. It's always a pleasure.
We're great at ending this show.
It's terrible. Look at that. Look how weird. What do I do with my hands?
I don't know.
What is happening right now?
Thanks
You
for
look
watching
like
the Cinephiles.
the
What's
guy.
that?
You look like the guy in Scary Movie
Oh, he
with
goes,
the
"Take my
mashed
straw."
potatoes.
Oh no,
Chris Elliott.
Just take my strong hand. That one?
Yeah.
See ya.